Hello traders, Vita Forex here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a long while. Today we shall be looking at something very important. We shall be looking at one of the most followed economic indicators in the United States, and particularly this is the non-farm payrolls, or NFP. Okay, so we shall be looking at the details of what NFP is, the readings of the report. How do we trade NFP? So stick around and let me show you everything that is to do with non-farm payrolls. First and foremost, I would like to thank those who have subscribed and those who have continued to show us support towards our growing community. You can reach us to vitoforex.com, our website. You can also look us up to on our social media platforms. We have Instagram, _VitoForex. We also have TikTok, VitoForex. This is our YouTube channel, VitoForex UG. You can also go ahead to subscribe. You can go ahead to follow us on our social media handles. So we shall be looking at different aspects as regarding non-farm payrolls. Okay, so like I said, non-farm payrolls are one of the important economic indicators for the United States, along with the interest rates, or what we call the FOMC rate decision, inflation, what we call the CPI, or the consumer prices, retail sales, producer sales, new home sales, existing home sales, durable goods orders, and GDP. So let's go straight to NFP and see employment, non-farm payrolls. The non-farm payrolls is the employment report that is usually read to us at the start of every month, particularly Friday. Every Friday of the new month, we usually have this reading coming in. So this is just the employment report that shows us the ongoing economic activity regarding employment, regarding average hourly earnings. Okay, so this is called the non-farm payrolls. Majorly, we're interested in employment outside the farming sector. Okay, so it's a measure of how many net new jobs are added to the economy each month. Its importance is mostly due to political influences rather than pure economic reasons, as the Fed is under strict pressure to keep employment under control. As a result, interest rate policy is directly influenced by employment conditions, and this monthly report consists of data from two surveys, like we shall see. One, we have the establishment survey. Two, we have the household survey. Okay, so this report is detailed in three major aspects. Aspect number one is what we call employment change. Aspect number two is what we call average hourly earnings. Okay, employment number three is what we call unemployment rate, or how many people. Okay, what is the employment change? Okay, number two, average hourly earnings. Number three, how many net new jobs have been added to the economy. So those are the three parts of the report. And we've said that this data that is being released every first Friday of the month is accumulated from two surveys. One, the establishment survey, and two, the household survey. The establishment survey takes data from non-farm payroll employment, average hourly week, and aggregate hours index. So majorly, we look at how many people now are employed outside the farming sector. We look at what is the average weekly wages, and number three, how long. Okay, what is the working hours of those people averagely, okay, when it comes to a week. Now, the household survey gives us information on the labor force, household employment, and the unemployment rate. Okay, so those are the two surveys from which we get our data, from which we collect the data that we've said that we look at three major things. We've said, one, we look at how many net new jobs have been added. Number two, we look at what is the average hourly wages. What is the pay of these people working? Number 3, how many people, what is the employment change of those people outside the farming sector? So these are the 3 major aspects which we should expect, or these are the 3 major points which we should expect when it comes to non-farm payrolls. Okay, so when we go to myforexfactory.com, a website that is majorly known in economic indicators, especially economic calendars, we shall see that when it comes to the NFP, we have 3 reports. Okay, like we shall see. So when we go to myforexfactory.com, we shall see that okay, we are interested in Friday. So Friday 3:30, like we can see here, we shall expect average hourly earnings, non-farm employment change, and employment rate. So the average hourly earnings, this is basically the pay. The non-farm employment change, this is basically how many net new jobs have been added. And the unemployment rate, this is just to quantify how many people are unemployed. Okay. So we look the average hourly earnings and the unemployment rate, we look at them in terms of percentages. And the employment change of the net new jobs created, we look at it in numbers. Okay, like for example, when you see the previous NFP, the reading was around 114,000 new jobs that were created. And when you look at the forecast of what the economists think this time around we shall have 164,000 net new jobs added. So we shall be waiting upon the actual. We shall be looking at what happens when the reading, supposing of the non-farm employment change, is less than what is forecasted. Because when it comes to trading high impact news, we look at what is the actual data showing against the forecast. So this is the measure of how we shall trade. Okay, let's begin with average hourly earnings. Average hourly earnings, we had a previous of a 0.2%. The forecast is showing we shall be having a 0.3%. But what if the actual data shows that, for example, we have a 0.4? Okay, so average hourly earnings with a 0.4 means that we've had a 0.1 increase from what is forecasted. So this is something good when it comes to valuation of the dollar. Okay, so we shall be seeing how do we trade when it comes to dollar valuation. Okay, we shall be seeing that. So an average hourly earning of 0.3 as the forecast, and the actual coming in at a 0.4. This is showing an increase. Okay, it's showing an increase in the average hourly earnings. Okay, so this is something good for the economy. When it comes to non-farm employment change, with a previous of 114,000 jobs, a forecast of 164,000 jobs, and what if the actual data is showing 200,000 jobs? So this is also something good for the economy. Okay, now when it comes to the unemployment rate, with a 4.3 as our previous and the 4.2 as our forecast, if we have a 4.3, this is something greater than what is forecasted. Now when it comes to unemployment rate, it means that more people now are unemployed, which is not good for the economy. Okay, but if at all it's a 4.1, this is showing that the unemployment rate is reducing. Okay, unemployed people are reducing. Okay, so this is something good for the economy. For example, let's go and see when it comes to, let's try to put it here. So we say that we have 2 instances. Okay, we have 2 instances from which we trade NFP or any other high impact news. Okay, so instance number 1, if at all we are gaining value. Okay, it could be the dollar, it could be the pound, it could be whatever, gaining value. So if at all we are gaining value, how do we trade? Instance number 1 on how we trade, supposing XX USD, we shall sell Okay, so this is in cases where we are gaining value. Okay, XXX USD we shall sell. USD XXX, okay, we shall buy. So this is scenario number one. It means that it has a high demand. Okay, it has a high demand. So if the dollar is gaining value, any currency pair, for example, GBP USD, we shall sell. Gold, we shall sell. Euro USD, we shall sell. That begins with the US dollar Japanese yen, we shall buy. US dollar Swiss franc, we shall buy. So instances where we have the actual data being greater than the forecast for these two items, okay, for these two readings, average hourly earnings and the non-farm employment change. If at all the data is greater than expected, greater than forecast, that means that we shall GBP USD we shall sell, because in those instances it will be showing that the dollar has gained value. Now, point number two, if at all this time around we are not gaining value, okay, if at all we are devaluing, okay. Now, devaluing means that we are losing value when it comes to the US dollar, okay. So this any currency pair that has XXX, supposing, okay, USD XXX, okay, we shall sell. Now, this is the principle that we follow when it comes to trading high impact news. I'm only taking the USD, but it applies to all countries, to AUD, it can apply to Japanese yen, it can apply to Swiss franc. So I'm only taking the US dollar and use it for example. Okay, so now there are times when we shall have, there are instances that we shall have these two readings, the average hourly earnings and the non-farm employment change, being greater than the forecast, which means that the dollar is gaining value or something good for the economy. But then the unemployment rate is showing us that the economy is not performing well. So in other words, we shall have the unemployment rate being greater than the forecast. Okay, so instances like that mean that if at all, supposing the two readings, the currency, we shall have this market now moving in two directions. It will five up. So instances like this means that this report is having two sides: a side that one values and a side that devalues. Okay, so you should also take note of that. You have to be ready. Now, in cases where you find such things, higher times, usually we get stopped out now in either the downward movement or the upward movement. Okay, so you should now be ready, especially those who want to trade the impact in case one of the data is against the others. Okay, so you should take note of that. So this is the NFP, and it comes at the first Friday of every month. Okay, so now there's some things we should note, that the NFP is something that happens once a month, but along the month we have some reports that show us, okay, we have some indicators that show us something like an insight of how the NFP could look like, okay, that coming month. Now let's look at some of those reports. Okay, we are here. So we have some other labor market indicators that have a high correlation with the NFP, and usually they tell us what could be happening. The first one is the ADP, automatic data processing. So this is a private sector gauge of the labor market trends, and it correlates with the NFP. Okay, so the reading or the report that is going to be released by this automatic data processing, this is a private sector, is usually just a representative of what has been happening. This is not the official report. The official report is the NFP, but the reading of this usually does not change so much with the final reading or the NFP. Okay, so the automatic data processing, this is the automatic data processing. This is something that comes earlier. Okay, so for example, when we go to myforexfactory.com, we shall see that today is Thursday. The automatic data processing is coming in at 3:15 p.m. Okay, this is East African time, so you see that it is coming earlier. Now, what happens here is just how many net new jobs have been added. Okay, so the reading here is what will guide us when it comes to this one, when it comes to this. So this is the automatic data processing. It usually comes earlier than the actual reading and the final report. Okay, so that is one. Number two, we have what we call the Challenger Grey and Christmas. So this is a report on planned layoffs, giving a read on job cuts and planned hiring over the course of the month. So this one happens way earlier on the planned layoffs. Okay, and also gives us the read on job cuts and planned hiring over the course of the month. Number three, it's called the JOLTS report, or the job listings. Okay, so this is a read on the number of job openings. When there are more job openings than available workers, we can expect to see labor markets tighten. Okay, so when we go to the, let me see whether I can try to find that job listings. That job listings came, it's here. So the job listings came in yesterday, Wednesday, at 5 p.m. So you can see that the data, the job listings, the jobs that were listed from the forecast were 8.09 million jobs, but the actual data was showing us that the jobs that were listed were actually 7.67 million jobs. So this is a decline now. So after seeing this, we get now to correlate it with what is likely to happen with the non-farm employment change. Okay, so you're seeing that coming to the NFP, we have some reports already that tend to give us a picture of what the actual reading could look like. And then we have this one called the Reserves Labor Market Conditions Index. So this is a broad gauge of labor market health and useful for pinpointing major changes in labor market trend. So these are the reports that usually move hand in hand with the NFP, and they try to give us like an insight of what is likely to happen. Okay, so trading high impact news, for example, these economic indicators like the NFP, the CPI, I must say that you have to be prepared, for this is a period when we experience high market volatility. Now, at the point when you're not certain of what you're doing, your account is likely to be wiped away in floods. So trading high impact news has no mercy to the unprepared traders, but still one of the greatest opportunity for the prepared ones to make such great changes when it comes to their accounts. Okay, so you have to stay cautious. This is a disclaimer. I'm not offering financial advice. I'm only educating you of what you are likely to do. Okay, I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm only educating you. You have to stay informed when it comes to trading high impact news. You have to stay informed. Follow us on our social media platforms. You can also go ahead to subscribe on our YouTube channel. You can go ahead to comment and let us know what you would like us to handle next time. Okay, so until we meet again, see you. Thank you.